So these folks that are finding remains and skulls and so forth and talking about the first people and the found in Africa and all that, I I have a controversy with that. Now, first of all, they might be right in that because Africa had been powerful at first, um, they could have called, Africa the place where civilization started, not meaning like learning and so forth, but, talking about the beginning, first people. And then when Babylon became powerful, they probably changed things around and so forth. Because the scripture does talk about there are some rivers that passed by the Garden of Eden. You had the Euphrates, um, one of them is Euphrates. And the Euphrates, according to our current geography, has not passed through Africa, more to the Middle East, Asia. And then, okay, if Africa and Babylon had played games with claiming that, the river might have been in Africa, to call it this river, that passed by the Garden of Eden, and then Babylon come and change it and say this river passed by Iraq. Well, why didn't the Greeks and Romans then change it wrong and say that it passed by them? But it stayed just there. And I don't believe it really came from Africa because um, they have a different story if they're coming up with that Africa talk. What the scripture showed is that, and it has to be that before the flood, well, not before the flood, Adam and Eve and most of those people in the antediluvian world were of a special race, okay? And somehow it wasn't white, black, Asian, nor Native Indian. It was something different. And they were like giants because you can't be dwarfs, as they're saying, that they grew up like from slime growing up, and then you have giants in the blood and all that stuff. You got to have had giants somewhere in it before. So I would think that we were giants first, and then we decline through inbreeding and other things. And every now and then the genes hook up, and then you have a tall gene, like with Samson and Goliath, and so on. Um, so after the flood, you had Noah's three sons, Ham, Shem, and Japheth. And then, of course, Ham went to Africa. Shem went to the Orient, and then Japheth seems to have gone to Europe. So this is it. Well, how Noah then would have three sons and end up with three different looking people and so forth? Well, my understanding is that they were having sex with certain other of God's creation before the flood, and then after the flood, they continued it. So this is what is responsible for the different color. Because I don't think that you could have an original color and have derivatives, and then the original going to still be that equal or more than the derivatives. I think if you start off with two, and then all the others are going to start being different, I think that it would become extinct. And this is actually what happened. The first people they raised and everything became extinct. And this skull his brother has in his hand is so different and so small that I just can't believe that's the first people. But Africa continues to insist that there's where civilization started and the Garden of Eden and all that. I don't know what it's doing for them anyway, because God rejected them just like the Jews and so on. You have the Coptic people in Ethiopia say that they have the Ark of the Covenant in their place. And if you remember that Oza, the guy, when they were taking the Ark from one place to the next place, it seemed as if he was going to fall, he touched it, he died. But they're touching it, hands down, no problem. And there are a whole bunch of other things. People had the Ark around their false gods, and there are many, little semi-gods they made in hands. And when they wake up in the morning, the neck broken, they fall down on the knees, they bow into the true God in that Ark. So I don't think that the Ark is in Africa, period. On the other hand, God's presence is not in the Ark today. He's in heaven. The temple is done and so forth. My understanding is that the Ark was spirited out between AD 30 and AD 70, more like AD 70 when the Romans siege Jerusalem. Trusted men took the Ark, although God's presence I don't think was in the Ark, because You remember when Christ was crucified, or the veil rent in twain, and the presence wasn't there anymore because it was veiled so that you couldn't see in there because it would kill you. So it became obvious people could see, so the presence of God had to leave. And still, it's special because in it, it's Moses' rod, a bowl that held the manna and the laws and so forth. And my understanding is that what I've read is that before Christ returns, somebody's going to find the ark and going to verify the scripture to be genuine because it comports with what is there. The Ten Commandments is there. Here's Moses' rod and here's the bowl that had the manna. So I don't think it's in no Ethiopia. So that Africa's coming up with all these kind of like stories. Mother Lucy, this little dwarf woman, Miss about 3 feet tall. I mean, it's so ridiculous. And so this skull, I don't think it has anything to do with the original people or anything of the sort. It's just somebody's trying to claim fame, or I don't know whether keep on this romance with Africa and God and all this kind of stuff.